Hi guys, welcome back to Future Dimensions 360. As you guys know, in our last tutorial we are learning about use context hook. What is use context hook? We had understand that use context hooks provides a way to pass data through the component tree without passing any props manually at any level. So in today's tutorial, we will be learning an example in which we have a root component app from where we will be passing username to component C, component E and component F. I want you guys to understand it without using use context hook. This will help you in better understanding of use context hook. In case you guys have any query, I will highly recommend you to go on to my React.js big tutorials for beginner series in which the complete detail of in which the complete detail of use context API is available. You can learn it from there in detail. Let's go ahead to our visual code. I'll show you how it works. For better understanding, for context API, I had created a pre-component already to save our time. That is component C, component E, and component F. As we see in our example, that in our app component, the component C is nested. You can see my app component containing component C. Then component C contains component E, and then component E contains component F. And component F is saying I am a component F. Let's go to browser, and you can see component C is not defined coming here. Let me go here and import it like this. It will work. Let's see, I am a component F appearing in my in my browser. So now what we have to do here is from my root level or app level, I have to pass username to each component. How can I pass it? First of all, I have to create a context called user name context. How I can create it? I will use react.createContext function to create the context username. This context contains two main functions. One of them is provider that will help us to pass the value that will be available in any component globally around the application. Let's go ahead and try to use that username context.provider. Like this, we can take it open with opening tag and closing tag of provider. Inside that one, whatever the component is there, that will contain the value that I will be providing in that provider of username context. So here I will be providing, for example, John Wick. It will be available in each component. Like in each component, like nested components of component C, I can directly access this value. So I can access this component C, this value in component C either or component E or component F. So I'll be needing this value here in component F. So what I have to do here is I have to use user name. I will import first that. How can I import first? I didn't export it. Let me export it. Now it's done. Now I can import it here. Import with curly braces username context. So I will be using here inside this username context.consumer with opening and closing tab and then curly braces. This curly braces will be taking an arrow function as an input and returning the value that is provided from the provider. What is the value? That is username. I will pass the name username here, and what I will be returning? I will return a string that called I am, and then I will pass username here. Username. That's it. Save. Go to browser. We will see I am John Wick appearing. John Wick, from where I passed this this username, I had passed it from app.js using context API. We are not using use context hook. Keep it in mind. This is the traditional context API. Let's go ahead and try to take a more example. For example, I will be using another context called channel name. For example, channel name.context. So what I have to do here is I have to create another provider nested inside the provider with opening and closing tab. and whatever the component came in between these two provider, these two values are visible globally to all nested components of that component. Let me provide a value called future dimensions 360. So let's see, it was a future dimension 60. It's provided already in component C. So I can access it in component C, E, and F. Let's go ahead. We want it in component F. So here what I have to do is I have to import which one? Channel name consumer as well. So instead of returning here what? This string literals, I will be returning what? I will be returning channel name consumer, channel name context.consumer, and inside that one another curly braces, and then another arrow function will take channel name as an input, and then here I can return the value. What will be returned? It will be a function, and then I will say I am a username and my channel is, for example, I will pass channel name here. Let's hit save and see in the browser. You guys can see I am John Wick appearing and my channel is Future Dimensions 360. You guys can see I had just passed two values globally from root component. How my code is complex and it's getting nested again and again. This is the actual problem with Context API where use context hook comes into the picture. Let me see you guys in the next tutorial to let you know about use context hook. Please don't forget to subscribe and like our channel. See you. Goodbye.